Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Omar Mejia, and this is my colleague Vivian Ortiz. Today we'll be talking about gearing up for walking and biking. Next slide, please. So as you can see from the picture above, many items exist that can make biking safer and more comfortable, especially during inclement weather. Depending on the season and climate, you can wear more or less clothing. During summer, tank top and shorts and sneakers suffice. Although for kids, it's better to have more clothing on in case they slip and fall for scrapes. During summer showers, a rain jacket usually works. You may have noticed that some clothing is labeled water resistant and some is labeled waterproof. Usually water resistant clothing is used during light rain. And for heavier rain or snow, I recommend waterproof clothing, which are made of less permeable fabrics. Knee pads are also highly recommended for less confident riders and during winter riding. Fall and winter require more layers, but when biking in the cold, less is more. Too many layers can lead to overheating and wet clothing, which is uncomfortable and can lead to chafing. Another recommended and important piece of clothing is biking tights, which can be worn alone or underneath a rain jacket and rain pants. As far as footwear, we recommend sneakers with rubber soles and not to ride with bare feet or flip-flops. Some bikes are equipped with pedals that require special shoes, and there's a learning curve associated with this style of pedal and shoe. Last but not least, a helmet is required at all times. And now that we live in Corona world, please don't forget your mask as well. That's another important piece that you have to carry with you, which I forgot this morning. And now Vivian will share what's in her bike closet.
Thank you, Omar. And if you noticed, Omar's bike closet was pretty minimal and mine has a lot of stuff on it. But I am Vivian and I'm the coordinator for the Metro Boston area. And when I first started riding a bicycle just a couple of years ago, I saw that everybody was wearing like these special clothes and I wanted to buy them. I wanted to look like everybody else and fit in. And when I started looking into it, it was like, needed to have the jersey, the shorts, the gloves, the special sunglasses, the special socks, the special shoes. But that required a lot of special money. And that was something that I wasn't necessarily able to do. So I bought a couple of items and realized that this was going to be pretty expensive. And at that point, I was only a spring or a summer rider and found, just as Omar had mentioned, that it has to do with the material, that's much more important. So I started looking for breathable, non-cotton tops and invested in some bike shorts. Definitely needed to make sure that I had some bike shorts because as I started spending more time on the bike, I was riding for longer distances and I really needed to make sure that I was comfortable. And something else that I want to mention is that a lot of the clothing that exists today at this moment isn't made for all body styles. So I'm a curvy person and a lot of the clothing that's available for women doesn't necessarily fit me. So I wanted to be comfortable because that was the thing that was most important for me. And I needed to be, for me, being comfortable meant that I was wearing what I wanted to wear. So I want to just share a little bit about the clothes this is on my bed. These are the clothes that I laid out for this. I like to wear shorts. I like to wear sleeveless blouses. I like to bike in dresses. There is one jersey, the black and white print pattern that's up there. That is one jersey that I have and it has pockets in the back, which works if I'm going on a longer ride during the summertime. And then on the right-hand side are the clothes that I started wearing when I decided that maybe I wanted to venture out and try to ride year round. In the first few years, my bike went into storage from mid-November until May. I don't really like the cold and had no desire to ride during the winter. So year-round riders started telling me about merino wool and it was like, the price of those items was very cost prohibitive. And I thought, wool, that's going to be really itchy. I don't want that. But since then, I found some merino wool blend base layers, the purple items that are in the picture, that helped me extend my biking season because the merino wool keeps it wicks away the sweat. So it made it a lot more pleasant and it also kept me warm. So the next thing I want to mention is that as part of our education, my colleagues and I, we offer bike safety assemblies in the schools throughout the state. We cover helmet fit, the ABC quick check, hand signals, and other topics. But one of the highlights for me is when we ask students what to wear when riding a bicycle. And I have to mention that when we were doing the trivia earlier with Rachel and she asked about what we should wear, everyone answered what the same thing that the students say. You got to wear something bright, you got to wear something reflective, you got to wear da da da. But when we ask them what it is that they should be wearing, they also say the same thing. You got to have bike shorts that can't be dark. You need to make sure you have helmets. And we always make sure that they understand that closed-toed shoes are really, really important. But I've never had a student tell me that she wears a dress, okay? When I talk to the students and I tell them that I prefer wearing shorts or dresses during the summer, I get these looks like, oh my gosh, nobody does that, right? So I really prefer the lightweight materials and things that flow. It also helps because I don't have to switch out of my clothes when I arrive to wherever it is that I'm going, all right? And you can always wear bike shorts or leggings under your dress to make you more comfortable. I always have something on underneath because sometimes the dress might kind of fly up and we don't want that kind of surprise. I always emphasize the importance of making sure that the students feel safe. Their shoelaces are tied, the closed-toed shoes, which I mentioned, the bright, loose-fitting clothing. But in order to make biking accessible for all, we need to start eliminating the barriers and saying that this is what you have to wear. In the community in which I live, there are a lot of students that would not be able to afford those clothes. And so trying to make our program more equitable, just trying to make sure that we're including it. And so just saying you don't ride in whatever you want to, but make sure that whatever you have is safe. So recently, the Safe Routes to School program created a cultural awareness document for schools to share with parents before we offer bike and pedestrian education. Here are just a few points that we'd like for you to consider if you're going to offer any type of bicycle programming. Make sure that you check with the parents about specific instructions to support their students' involvement in the lesson. We need to normalize the students' dress, being careful not to shame them, to tell them that isn't safe. Provide a step-through bicycle that limits how much a long garment rides up. So now that we've covered what it is that Omar and I wear for comfort, he's going to cover some of the tools and gear that we recommend for safety and maintenance. Omar, you're muted.
Sorry about that. So depending on your needs and how you use your bicycle, you may consider some of these items that you see above. These pictures are some of the tools I use to maintain my bike's air pressure. Quick facts, bike tubes come in Presta and Schrader, so make sure that your air pump fits the appropriate valve. Some air pumps fit both, so that usually kills two birds with one stone. Additionally, hex keys to tighten bike components like the bike seat, the handlebars. These are all important because loose-fitting components can fall apart. Chain lubricant. So since we live in New England, we deal with a lot of rain and snow. And since they use salt here for de-icing, then your chain is going to rust much faster than normal. So the chain lubricant is a lot more important. And gloves for comfort because we all don't want frostbite on our hands. And now Viv will talk about more of her equipment that she uses.
Again, Omar has one picture of items, I have four. So for me, visibility, for all of us, visibility should be important at all times, especially if you ride when it's dark, cloudy, or rainy. Confession, I did not ride my bicycle in today. I had some things that I needed to bring into the office, but I will be hopefully riding later on. Reflective bands, the ones that we offer through our program, the picture where it's my shoes and you see the two yellow bands around my ankle, those are really, really important in addition to having bike lights to help keep you safe in these conditions. Rain pants, I'm wearing those also with the reflective bands. The cape is something that I just recently purchased on the right-hand side. And helmet covers, the one that I have there, sometimes events, rides that you go to will provide a helmet cover. It's a great thing to invest in. It keeps your hair from getting wet. All of these items are to help keep you safe under these conditions, right? If you use your bike for running errands, investing in panniers, the bags that attach to the bike racks, makes grocery store runs a lot easier. I hadn't invested in panniers. I had a rack, but I hadn't invested in panniers. It took me a couple of years. And now the picture in the middle on the bottom are the panniers from a recent grocery store run, and it made it a lot easier for me to be able to get what my errands done. So on the right are some of the other items. First of all, I want to make sure you all know I do not carry those with me at all times. I pick from those items as to what it is that I'm going to be doing, but I have a variety of bags. So I have the panniers, I have a little handlebar bag, I have fanny pack as well. So it kind of depends on where it is that I'm going. I make sure that I do have my multi-tool with me if I have to do like a small little fix. I like to carry zip ties because you just never know what might happen. But the items that I never ever leave my house without are my U-lock. Sometimes I also take the cable lock, and that just kind of depends on where it is that I'm going. If I'm stopping somewhere, I want to always make sure that I can find bike parking that I can see my bicycle. But if that's not able, then I feel just more comfortable if I also use the cable lock. But again, it depends on what bag it is that I'm using. I take up backup lights. I always have my water bottle with me. I have my wallet. And like, as Omar mentioned earlier, I always have my mask with me now during COVID. And then the most important thing is that I always have my helmet. I have 2 helmets that are shown in that picture because it just depends on the time of day. I like to wear the bright reflective one if I'm going to be riding at night. And then also just kind of what mood I'm in. So those are just some of the items that we have in our bike gear closet. And now I'll turn it back to Omar, who's going to share some more information about helmets. You're muted again.
Next slide, please.
Okay.
Thank you. So thank you, Vivian, for describing your closet contents. Now we'll be talking about the importance of a properly fitting helmet. In Massachusetts, it is the law for those 16 and under to wear a helmet. Currently, not all helmets can accommodate select hairstyles or religious headwear. For example, some natural hairstyles, afros, locks, high ponytails, high pigtails, beads, bows, and thicker material head wraps and kippas. If you are interested in setting up your own helmet fitting, here is some guidance. Check with parents about hairstyle considerations and offer suggestions, like to bring a bandana, hair wrap, and to remove beads so that their student can use the helmet safely and without it hurting. Offer this guidance well in advance of the lesson, so families have time to plan for and to adjust hairstyle as needed and if possible. Provide some larger helmets while ensuring that the helmet still fits snugly, covering the head and fully secure and stabilized on the head. Sizing up is normal and can be necessary. Keep the talk positive so that students do not feel their hairstyle is a problem. Consider using the language, while it is tricky to properly fit your helmet today, it will be easier next time if you wear your hair like this. Then explain how the helmet should fit. So Vivian will now, we will actually have a small demo about the online bike helmet fitting that we made that is available for your online classes.
Omar. So if I can get from Vivian and Omar, yes, everyone get their helmets out. Thank you, Vivian. I'm going to press play on the video, and we did test it before, but if I get a thumbs up from Vivian and Omar, since I can see them, if you guys can hear the video when I play it.
Okay.
One of the most important safety issues is wearing a helmet. Bicycle helmets protect our brains and our heads in case we get into an accident. To do their jobs and protect our heads, the helmets need to be in good condition and need to be fitted properly to our heads. First, check that the helmet does not have any cracks. Next, follow the 4-point check to make sure your helmet fits. Number 1, your helmet should fit snugly and move only slightly when shaking your head. Number 2, your helmet should sit straight on top of your head, not leaning forward or back. There should be 2 fingers width between your eyebrows and helmet. Ask someone to help to measure properly. Number 3, the straps should form a V under each ear. You can use the plastic slide to adjust so that you get a snug fit. Number 4, the strap should fasten under your chin with 1 finger width of space between the strap and your chin.
Great. So this video, as Omar said, is actually in our bike assembly video. It's about 17, 18 minutes long. And it's if we can't be there to do a bike assembly for you, we actually have a great video that goes through a lot of different bike safety videos and tips and tricks for everyone. So going on to the next slide. Okay, back to you, Omar and Vivian.
Okay, so just to let you all know, the recommendations that Omar and I have shared today are based on our personal insights and experiences. Just to let you know, bike-specific clothing does exist for youth, but emphasizing the need to own them shouldn't be a barrier, again, to biking. We recommend the same basic guidance about clothing: bright, non-constricting, breathable fabrics, closed-toed shoes, and helmet that fit properly. And when it comes to gear, it's very individualized. Book bags with chest and waist straps can make carrying sports or musical equipment safer and more ergonomic. More specialized equipment like the instrument bags, the bike racks, and panniers also exist for youth. And if you're creative enough, you can DIY a lacrosse pole holder like the one that's shown in the picture here in the middle bottom. Just to point out, 2 of these pictures are from an article from the UK highlighting items that you might not consider carrying on a bicycle. That's something we hear quite often at public meetings, but you can't do everything on a bicycle. So we want to start sharing some of these fun, creative ways that folks are using their bikes. The bottom left picture is actually of a local Roslindale cyclist who carries doors on a trailer. And then also on the right, the popularity of cargo bikes is increasing. And there are affinity groups that exist where families share advice and swap out bikes and equipment as their needs change. So Omar is going to finish our presentation by sharing some safe routes to school specific items for you.
So above, you can see a few of the items we have available for partner schools and alliance partners. Our postcards offer tips about winter riding, bike maintenance, and riding at night. We have backpack lights and reflective bands that are especially helpful during early morning and after school walks or bike rides to and from school. Even more so now that the evening hours now that it's getting darker sooner. The front and back lights for bicycles are only available to partner schools that have a 50% or higher participation rate on our parent guardian travel survey. Breakstone, White & Gluck, a Boston-based law firm, provides helmets to our program to distribute to our students in our environmental justice communities. Reach out to your outreach coordinator if you're interested in any of these items. Vivian and I thank you for giving us the opportunity to share these recommendations with you. We hope you found them helpful and ask that you share them with others. And if you have any more questions, we are happy to help you out now that we're here.
Great. Thank you so much, Omar and Vivian. So it looks like the chat was crowdsourcing some answers here. So I'm just going to go up. Let's see. Shout out helpful clothing breakdown. Where do you recommend purchasing an adult bike helmet that's affordable? They're expensive in the private bike shops. And then it looks like Josh was posting some reviews and different types of bike helmets in there. And I don't know if Vivian or Omar, if you have any suggestions on where to get a good helmet too that doesn't break the bike.
She did say that she went to the bike shop, so that's a good way to actually check them out firsthand, which models you like aesthetically and which are ergonomic for your head, because everyone's head is different, everyone has different hairstyles. So, you know, that's a good way to check them out and then order them online. If the cost difference is cheaper, then by all means get them online. I really can't recommend a specific site, so it's going to require a little more homework on your end.
Yeah, so this helmet that I have here, I actually bought it online, but it was after already kind of getting a feel as to how I needed to have a helmet that fit me. Sometimes there are events where helmets are given out also for adults. So, you know, just look around, but it is really, really important. You can get a helmet for $20 and you can get a helmet for $150. They're all basically made the same. A lot of it just has to do with aesthetics and comfort. So, you know, keep looking around because you should be able to find something that's affordable. Go to like, some of I'm gonna give a plug, like Bikes Not Bombs and other programs like that that are working with communities to see if you might be able to get a helmet from them. Common Wheels in Alston, Brighton, if you happen to be in Boston.